My name is Hans, and I'm one of the 8 co-founders of an agency for digital products. And today I want to share a few lessons with you about project management that we learned during the last 10 years. So, I think, in my opinion, project management is the key to make a project a success. That's why we invested a lot of time to improve on that. So let's take a look at the things that went wrong in the first place. First, too many meetings. In the first years, everyone worked on every project and somehow contributed to everything. That felt very fast in the beginning, but over the course of a project, that was crap. More and more dependencies arose over the time. And tasks were moved from person to person, but they were never finished. And the worst part, we needed weekly meetings that lasted for hours. So the problem was, we spent more time in meetings than we actually worked on the projects. So how did we solve this? I think the biggest change was that we made small, independent teams. And with small, I mean really as few people as possible, like 2 or 3 people on a project. With small teams, they feel more responsible for the tasks, and they have a better overview over the project. But the biggest change is that communication became so simple that talking to each other only takes a few minutes. So an update to bring everyone up to date is only a small task for the day. Second, working on the wrong features. Our team is more than 10,000 hours a year in the office. That's a lot of time. And we invested a lot of time in all the projects we did. We wanted to make all the details right. We wanted to make it perfect. But the mistake we did, we invested time in the wrong things, like features that were used a little. So how did we solve this? Mainly because we update our priorities all the time. Because the mistake we made in the beginning, that we set the priorities in the beginning of the project. Now, when we talk the first time to the customer or to the client, we start a backlog, like we already heard from Simone, with a list of all the tasks. So after the second meeting, after a workshop, with every design draft, we update all the information in the backlog and, most important, the priorities. So at every point in time, they are the most important things visualized as they are on the top in the backlog. Shit, we missed the deadline again. That was really, to be honest, I don't know how that worked at all, and I'm really thankful for all the clients that made the way with us, because some of our projects were late for years. And how did we fix this? There were a lot of problems like this miscommunications. We were so busy informing everyone about everything that we couldn't finish the project, or working on the wrong things costs time but doesn't take the project further. But I think one big mistake was that there were long phases where the team didn't know what to do next. So what we do is really maintain our backlog again, really lovingly. It's not like a task that we do once or once a month. It's something we do every week and every day. It's so important to get every information together, to tidy up, to get all the messages you receive, all the emails, all the discussions with the client, to get everything at one single source of truth. So what you want for your team is a constant stream of tasks. So you want that they can take at any point in time a task from your backlog and work on it. So you might have guessed it already, but we switched to Agile a few years ago. And when we thought about Agile and looked at all the possibilities we have, we went with Scrum. And Scrum has, unfortunately, a really bad reputation. On the one hand, there are people that say it can't work if you don't follow the strict rules. There's no way that this will work. And on the other hand, you have people that say the rules are too strict, I won't follow them, it won't work if I follow the strict rules. So that's a dispute I can't solve. What we did is we tried everything and we looked at what worked for us and what didn't work. So I want you to show a few things that we kept. That's a backlog, like I already said. Like from the first discussion with the client, we keep everything in a task list with all the information we gather. And the important thing is, those single tasks are user stories. And the name user story makes perfect sense to me. Because from the first idea to the actual implementation, it's a really long road. And so it's a story that has a lot to tell. And those stories answer the most important questions. What problem do we want to solve and why? So a typical user story is something like, as a user, I want to upload a new selfie to make my friends smile. So what do we have here? We have the role, the user, or maybe a photographer, or I don't know, who wants to upload a new selfie. And the important part is that we discuss why he wants to do that. So that's a human-readable language. Everyone can discuss about the user story. So the manager or the marketing team or the developers or the designers can discuss what really is the value about the task you want to accomplish. And the second part we kept is sprints. So what we really try is to launch products early. So maybe after 2 weeks or 4 weeks, the first core feature is working and we want to launch this one core feature. So maybe it's internally behind a firewall or a password protection, but we want to launch. And then work becomes even more exciting because what happens, you have the first users, the first beta users, and they find those nasty bugs and they have requests and the client thinks about the project and came to the conclusion that it should work completely different. And what you don't want to do is to interrupt your team and go to your developer and say, there's a bug, can you fix it now? Or there's a request, can we do this now? And this is no opportunity. So what you want to do is to put it in the backlog again and to take the team's packages of work out of the backlogs. So you prioritize your work, you gather all the information, you clean up, you tidy up. Doesn't matter if you receive a WhatsApp from the client or an email or a message. You clean up the information and get it in the backlog. And every 2 weeks, this is an example for this package of work, the team comes together, everyone who works on the project, and decides about the tasks that they want to accomplish during the next 2 weeks. So there's a lot more to product management and project management. But the question you may get is, should I use Scrum for everything? And my definite answer is no. But what we do is, my recommendation would be to start with Kanban. If you don't know it already, I think a lot of people will know it already. It's a good way to start your project management. And I think it would help a lot of industries to work with Kanban, because what you do is to visualize your work in a very easy and effective way. What you do is you put your work on the left side in the to-do column, and when you start working, you move the story from left to right. So after 1 second to view the board, you know what progress you made already. Even the manager or the marketing team or a developer knows what is to do, what to work on next. It's like working a stack down. And we use those Kanban boards, you may know from Trello, to work on projects that only take a few weeks. That's very good. But if you work on longer projects, you will find the need to organize your work even more, to see more progress, to organize everything more in categories and stuff like that. That's when you need Scrum, kind of, or maybe. And so we tested a few tools, and we started with Trello, which is really easy. I think most of you know it. But we felt the need for more organization. So we tried Jira, and it was so complex. Literally, someone called me a few weeks ago, and he said, we gave up on searching for the notification preferences. There's no way you can find it. And what they did is to move their communication to WhatsApp. So they talk about WhatsApp with their client, but keep the tasks in Jira. So good luck. So by now we tested over 200 tools. That's no joke. We took a lot of time to test them, and we were unhappy with all the existing solutions. They didn't fit our use case. We wanted something which is not too strict, and we wanted something which is not too simple, something in between. And what we did, what first sounds as a big mistake, is building our own solution. And it started really as a joke. We took one afternoon to build the proof of concept, and then we joked about it, and a few weeks later we started to work on it again. And it took us a while, but we started to use it internally. And it already made a lot of fun to use it, because it's, if you're working on products yourself, it's a nice situation that when you're annoyed by something, there's a bug or you want to improve something, you can go in and fix it, and an hour later it's better. It makes a lot of fun. And what we did then is to show the software to a few agencies and startups and ask them about their approach to project management. What we learned is that nearly every team is unhappy with their solution. So what we decided is to make Scrumpy public. That is what we did in April last year. And I'm really proud that we have a lot of users by now, I think a few thousand already. And teams worldwide use it to plan their MVPs, their apps, their projects. And that makes me really proud. Because I talked about small teams, I want to take the opportunity to show you our team. Chris is here today to listen to the talk. And Philip and I founded Scrumpy, and Justin joined us in November. So that's something I'm really, really proud of, that we have such a small team and achieved so much with Scrumpy already, because we compete with startups with millions of funding, and that's really great. And what would make me really happy is if you want to try Scrumpy, try it. But what would even be better is if you invite me to a team. I would love to talk to a team. Doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 200. I want to learn everything about project management. And I want to make Agile planning simple. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much. We do the switch
Thanks,
again.
Thank you.
Any questions for Hans? I'll start at the back. Oh, yeah, I'll start at the back.
Hello. Hi, I'm Oliver. Thank you very much. Super interesting topic. Actually, I think that Jira itself is a mess, and there is a need of really user-friendly, task organizing tools. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you had a couple of problems during the starting phase of the product. I would be interested in how you defined the MVP and what role validation played in that process, especially user validation. And second question would be how do you integrate the role of the designer into the developers team? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. One thing is, I talked about the problems, and I know the problems because we founded an agency where we actually work on a lot of different projects. So I know about all the problems. So that was what we wanted to solve. But there was one thing which we can't solve, or which we thought we can't solve, is we couldn't find a good tool for the approach we would take. And so we built Scrumpy. So we actually, I would say the start of Scrumpy was actually very easy, because at first it was only a joke, so we had no real requirements or stuff like that. It was more for fun. Then we started internally. That was a big step, obviously, because we had to get the whole team on board that they want to test a buggy software without many features. But as we started it was easy to define the next step and the next requirements, because in our daily work we missed features or stuff like that, and then we started to build them. It was not that planned at the beginning. But I think the exciting part was when we started to talk to other agencies and to other startups, because every team has another approach to project management. That's why I'm really interested to talk to you and to see what you came up with. And that's really difficult to decide for whom you build the software, because I could go to one team and they ask me for features and we could build them, but the software wouldn't be a good fit for another team. And that's the hard part, to talk to a lot of people and see what are the common things, what do all the people need. And what we do, we switched during the phases. The first phase was just experiment, build, release features and stuff like that. Then we started to use it, so we had to build the features for us. And then we launched, and we were really impressed by the positive feedback. but it was really a mess to handle all the feedback. It was like, on some days, like 20 people wrote us, I need this feature, there's a bug, and we were really headless, and to be honest, I think we had done nothing for 2 months, because we were in a shock state, kind of. But then we started to organize our backlog, like I told you, and put all the feedback in, and then you see all the common stuff, and you see this is more requested, so it's higher prioritized. And that's how we move now. We take one part of the app, like at the moment we are at the topic tags, and we do everything we want to improve on the tags, how they are handled, how you can add them, how you can filter for them, and stuff like that. And we have a list of like 20 or 30 feature requests and things that annoyed us. And now we work down the backlog for the tags. So that's how we work now, and that works really well, I think. And the second question was?
The role of the designer and the developers team.
Okay, I think I have to go one slide back, because I even missed a few roles because we are a small team. So I'm the product crunch talk guy and backend developer, and Philip is design and front end. So Philip is doing design and front end in one person, so he has to fight with himself, kind of. And that's good and bad at the same time. So I don't know if this answers your questions, but I think this is an advantage of a small team again, because there's a lot of, Scrumpy is already really big, and we have a lot in our heads how everything is connected and how all the features are connected. It's not that easy to make the team bigger. You need someone who really has all the connections in his head, and it's a tough thing, maybe that's why you ask, to get all the stuff in the designer's head and in the developer's head. So it's basically one person at the moment. Justin is helping us with his experience from other apps. But I think maybe Stein has a few things to say to that. I can imagine that it's a totally different thing in a bigger team. But at the moment, it's easy for us, I think, because we are a small team. Does this answer your question? Thank you.
Okay, good. Many questions. I think you were one of the first, right, before.
I think I have to give shorter answers.
I hope so.
Sorry.
Hi, Hans. I actually have 2 questions for you. The first question is, I think you're still at Überdosis.
Yes.
Are you still working there, or is this a full-time job already?
What we do at the moment is we work 1 day a week for Scrumpy and the other 4 days for the agency. But we want to increase the time we invest in Scrumpy. But we don't have a funding, and we don't want to take funding, so it has to grow slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second, I already downloaded it and used it.
Nice.
Couple of minutes.
Wow.
I would really, yeah, big backlog already. I would need some advice on that, and I think
Sure.
we will invite you for that.
Nice.
We will chat later. But one question because I can really relate to you trying 200 plus tools, because we did 2, and now we have a combination of Teams and Trello and Dropbox, and it's really already a mess again. It's still just a few weeks old, the system, and a mess again. But when you use something like Scrumpy for app planning or software planning, the data you put in, like the files you share, mostly are not that big. I think it's mostly pictures or text or something like that. We work with video and audio, and we need to add bigger files like videos, and we use Trello to visualize our work, but it's not like every task is just done, but we add files to them and see, okay, that's version 1, 2, 3, 4. How's the file sharing thing with Scrumpy?
I think
that's a very long question, sorry.
It's a very complex question. Yeah, I try to answer it short. We have enough storage for you, I'm sure, because it's technically not limited, so that's not the problem. But of course, as you have problems in Germany with every big file, not depending where you upload it, it's a problem of the connection, and that's the same problem for us. And yeah, you have to move to another country, I think, is the answer.
Yeah, that's easy. Thanks.
We can talk later in detail.
Perfect.
Okay, good. I'll start over here, then to you and you. Okay. Hi, thanks for the talk. You said that you launched Scrumpy on the market, and now you have several customers.
Yeah.
And how did you do to launch this product while at the same time you have Trello, you have so many competitors that are very famous?
Yeah.
How do you do to make your place in this market?
I think I tried to talk to a lot of people, and they are, like I said, they are really all unhappy with their existing solution, and not unhappy in the way it's raining today. They are really upset, because especially the users of Jira. They really want to. They're really aggressive about Jira. So they have a lot of pain, and they want to search for another tool. So that's our opportunity, kind of, I think. And
how did you reach the market to have like 7,000 and maybe hundreds of thousands of users now?
Yeah.
How did you reach the market?
I think we are at
without funding
4,000 people users now, so not 100,000 would be great. I think we did a few things. We didn't invest in the marketing budget, but we wrote a few articles, which went really good. And what we did is launch on Product Hunt. I don't know if you know it. It's a platform for independent makers. And that brought us the first, I think, 1,000 users. And that helped a lot. And from now, it's a lot of people telling other people, or people inviting people to their team and stuff like that. So we want to be louder this year again and make more, like, if you would say, marketing stuff, or I don't like ads, for example, but we want to do more articles, content, and stuff like that. But we are more in a phase to build more features. That's something everyone recommends, to not build more features, but I think it's the right thing, because project management is a big space, and we compete with other startups that have thousands of features, so we need a base set of features. And we built it first for our workflow, that was okay, but now we want to build it for other teams, and they need more features, so we want to take the next months for building more features. We have a backlog, obviously, for all the features we want to build in the next six months or so, and then we want to see if we can reach more people with it. But what we see is that people have a lot of pain and want to switch to a nice and beautiful and simple solution. So that's our motivation at the moment.
I really like how Jira is kind of connecting from the first talk to your talk. Because the few times my inbox exploded was because of Jira and notifications. So I said, you, right?
Hans, thanks for the talk.
Thank
really
you.
Inspiring. I've got so many questions, but just two for now. One thing, how do you prioritize the features you want to build? By just sheer number of requests, or do you have like a vision for your ideal customer?
It's. I think I could make another talk to this topic, but in short,
I think so.
In short, it's you have to be aware that people only wish features that they know from somewhere else, and if you build all the features that they know from somewhere else, you're just the other tool again. So that's the hardest part. We see all the requested features, and then we have to decide if it's really something we want to build, and we have to be kind of ahead in our imagination what we want to build, and see if it fits our road. So just a few weeks ago, we planned what we want to do next year and the year after, to just have the goals for the next years and see if all the small features we build are on the right road. But there's no real system. There's no, like, we don't count upvotes for the feature requests or things like that. It's a really human thing at the moment. Yeah.
Right. And a second question. I really like the design of Scrumpy, and
Thanks.
Did you come up with it in the beginning just to have a differentiator against, for example, Jira or Trello, which are rather bland in my opinion, or was it like kind of iterative thing?
It's totally iterative. I think the first draft, I actually wanted to show it today, but I forgot it. The first draft was if you see it only 1 second, and it looks maybe not the same, but it's already the direction we took. But since then, even this year, we launched 2 design updates already, and moved in the last month 4 times the navigation and stuff like that. So it's really iterative. We see it and we see a problem, then we want to fix it, or we build a new feature, and it was a problem we had a few times the last months, that we had a new feature and there was no place to integrate it. And then we have to move everything around, and that's something which stops us for a week or 2 weeks or so at the moment. But yeah, it's important that everything has its place. That's important for us. You could add features, but it would look like a mess. We want to have everything in order. Yeah.
Okay, it's great to have so many questions. So one good thing I'm saying is he's going to be here for a while longer, and also he's going to be at the next Product Crunch again.
Okay.
No, but maybe limited to one question would be really great. So now I was looking at
for the
someone here
questions.
that had a question, right? Yeah, but it was the same question. Okay, very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for the really nice talk.
Thank you.
So I have one quick question. Like, we always struggle with the time estimation. I was wondering, do you also have the time integration integrated with the Scrumpy?
Yeah.
We were working with Jira, and the process was so complex and so mess. So we were like,
I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though the process was nice, that it would take your minimum like probability of minimum time and max time, and would give us the average time, but the way it was calculating was like really bad. So do you have anything?
There's a lot of different opinions about estimates.
Yeah.
From the one extreme is no estimates, and the other extreme is estimating the minute it will take. And we do estimates for ourselves, and it's integrated in Scrumpy, but we estimate the complexity.
Yeah.
You may have heard of it, and what we don't want to do is to talk to the client and argue why a feature needs an hour, and the client says needs half an hour, or doesn't it? And that's why we estimate the complexity of the story, which you have to get used to, but it shifts the whole discussion, because the developers can say it's complex, and mostly the client understands it, and then the client can decide, do we want to do the complex thing, which obviously takes a while, or do we want to do 5 small things? And that really helps to decide about the priorities. So it's a complex topic, but yeah, we do estimations, and you see the progress with balanced, I don't know how to say, one story is longer than the other, and you see the progress related to it. Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for all the questions. Yeah.
There was more in the back.
Yeah.
Not anymore?
Not anymore, or later.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Last question.
Okay.
Do you have a product manager in your team, or how do you decide things?
Philip and me started Scrumpy, and I think we both are in the role. I think I'm mostly the person, because I'm talking with a lot of customers. I'm doing the support. You have this chat on the website, and it's actually, if you write, hopefully nobody does it now, but it will land on my smartphone, and I will chat with you. And I really take this as an opportunity. I had like chat sessions in the beginning that took like 1 or 2 hours with people. I even met someone in the support chat from Scrumpy, who I've talked with for a few times, a few hours. And he was from Seattle, and we met in Berlin as he did a European travel trip. And so we know each other now in person. But it's really interesting for me to talk really long with all the people and get all the details from their approach to project management. And that's something we don't have. We cannot translate this one-on-one to the features we build, but it plays a big role what the features are. And I think that's mostly my role. But as you see, the team, it's not, we are a small team, everybody does everything, kind of. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
It's quiet. Okay. The very, very last question.
A yes or no question. Yeah.
About what you just said, how you in touch with customers over chat or WhatsApp or something like that. How do you organize all this information, all the customer inputs, and then
actually
put them into?
That's a big mess at the moment, and that's one of the features we want to build next year. Because at the moment I have different notes apps with all the feedbacks and summaries of all the discussions I had with customers, and it's a big mess. And there are tools out there, and I have to test them first. But I think that's a good opportunity to integrate it in Scrumpy, because as I said, your tasks are, I see it more as stories, so something which is long and has a lot of information. And for me, the next logical step is to begin with Scrumpy earlier. So from the first discussion with the user of your app, you can summarize the feedback and then decide to add it to your backlog. And that's a feature we want to build. But at the moment, I tried a few different things and nothing worked really well. So I don't have a good answer to it. Okay. Yeah.
Sounds like Google Spreadsheets for now.
Yeah, it's kind of this thing. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.